Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Steve Larson, and you're listening to Secret MLM Hacks Radio. So here's the real mystery. How do real MLMers like us, who didn't cheat and only bug family members and friends, who want to grow a profitable home business, how do we recruit A players into our downlines and create extra incomes, yet still have plenty of time for the rest of our lives? That's the blaring question, and this podcast will give you the answer. My name is Steve Larson, and welcome to Secret MLM Hacks Radio. Alrighty, it's 10 o'clock right now. I'm honestly super tired, but there's so much caffeine still surging through my veins that I don't think I could go to sleep for a while anyway. Which honestly probably is not that healthy, but anyway, I am excited to be here. I'm excited to share with you something I've been working on that is finally ready, that is out there. No, it's not the course yet. The actual everything is launching on January 4th, 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And if you want to get on the waiting list for that, there are 500 of you on there now. That's crazy. That's crazy to me. It's amazing. It's amazing the community that has already been forming around Secret MLM Hacks and what I call the Mavericks. And you guys will learn more about that on the actual launch, which is awesome. The Mavericks are amazing, and I'm excited for those of you who want to become one. It means something very specific. We got our own little mantra and everything. It's awesome. It's fun stuff. And it's very, very, very passionate community, which is very fun. I want to be around passionate people. I want to be around people who care about what's around them and what they're doing in their life. So it's been fun to see how the community's been exploding. We're about to pass 10,000 downloads on this podcast, which is awesome, which is really, really cool. Honestly, it's only a few months old. And then, man, I literally looked only maybe a week or two ago, and there's 400 people on the waiting list to check it out. Now there's almost 500, just underneath 500, barely. We'll probably cross it tomorrow, which is crazy to me. I just can't even believe it. And what it means to me is, okay, now let me flip into marketer mode. Okay, what it means to me is I am validating through the market. The market is telling me that I'm hitting the head. I'm hitting the nail on the head, hitting the pain points straight on the head, and which is awesome. Okay, that helps me like crazy. Hey, I want to talk to you about something that's really, really important to me real quick, and that is publishing. Okay, a lot of you guys know, obviously, I'm publishing right now. You're listening to me. I'm in your ear. I appreciate it. Whatever you're doing, I don't know if you're at the gym, you're driving in the car, you're at the grocery store, whatever it is. Thanks so much. I really appreciate that. The power of publishing is amazing, and I know I've talked about that before on this podcast, but I just wanted to talk about it again real quick, and specifically, okay, what I've done is I've gone and I've created some funnels, some internal funnels that help manage my internal processes. Okay. And these internal processes are amazing because they help save me time and help me focus solely on selling rather than running my business. That makes sense? As an MLMer, especially at the beginning, look, you are the sole driver. You are the only person that your success hangs on. Does that make sense? When you get cash coming in, and I know a lot of you guys, especially a lot of you guys who've been reaching out to me, you guys have huge downlines already, massive rock stars, which is awesome. Very, very cool. And you have cash flow to be able to go hire other people. Okay, you have cash flow to be able to go. Now, if you're just starting out brand new, a lot of times it's going to be more challenging for you. I mean, to be able to go hire other people or to whatever it is, right? And you are the sole driver. You are the sole person. There's no other person that you can look to for why you may or may not be successful other than yourself, which comes with a curse and a blessing. You know what I mean? It comes with both a pro and a con with that. The buck stops with you. There's no one else for you to look to. And I don't need to keep saying that. You obviously get that. So what I do... Now, I have a team. I have people I hire. I have people that, because I'm in a different situation. I've been doing this for a little while now. I'm literally leaving my job over this, right? And which is happening in just a few days here, which is both exciting and nerve-wracking with both pieces around it. A lot of people don't know, though, that before this job that I have now, before I actually was doing heavily a lot of internal processes related things. The things that I was doing and building, people would hire me to go improve their internal processes. So when someone places an order online, how does it automatically get over to this person in support? How does it get over to fulfillment? How is it tracked? How is it checked off the list? How, all those things. And so I heavily did those pieces for companies. And so inside of me, I already like efficiency, and you can go overboard with it, but man, efficiency is amazing. And so what I do is I build sales funnels, obviously, to sell stuff, but I also build funnels for internal management things. And kind of do this with me, okay? So there was this company that hired me to travel to these different states, and I would film and I would create their internal processes, and I would go around, and I was just trying to prove myself to the market at the time. Okay, this was several years ago, and it's crazy. This is probably almost 4 years ago now. That's nuts. It's nuts. No, but three. Anyway, what they would do is I would go around and I would film and I would create these cool internal processes for these companies. And my favorite was to work with people just like you, people who might most likely on their own / have a very small team, 2, 3, 4, 5 people maybe at the most, and go help set up the internal processes to help alleviate the business, alleviate the team, especially alleviate the entrepreneur whose main role is to go sell stuff. Okay, marketer, salesman, entrepreneur, I don't care what you call it. It's the person in charge. Their main role is to sell things. Your job, you are a salesman, okay? And I know sometimes for whatever reason, salesman has somewhat of a negative connotation to it, which is stupid. Sales makes the world go round. And if everyone stopped selling, our economies would all die immediately. Like, be proud to be a salesman. It is, in my mind, besides, parenthood, it's like the most prestigious career path on the planet. And you should be proud to be a salesperson, okay? Sales is amazing. Everyone sells. No matter if you've never sold anything for money before, you've certainly sold other people on whether or not to go to this movie or that movie, that restaurant or this restaurant, get this pair of shoes or that shirt, okay? Everyone has sold no matter where you are, okay? Selling is part of life. And so you are a salesman, okay? And so your main role is to sell. And so I want you to think real quick and start thinking through and say, self, what are the tasks that are taking up my time that are not sales related? Okay, if something does not actually contribute to your bottom line, why are you doing it? Okay, and those are questions that I constantly come up with, and I go like, questions that I ask myself, and I constantly get new answers, and I'm like, oh my gosh, look, I'm spending too much time doing X, Y, and Z. Oh man, which one of those can I automate? Okay, which one of those can I start and actually start putting some automation behind it? That's when I automate stuff. And so what I've done is I went and I have been automating this internal process that I have been spending a lot of time on. Although I think I've only ever had one other person on this podcast so far. I actually have a second show, and I love interviewing people. I love diving deep into their sales processes or their funnels or sales flows or whatever you call them, whatever you want to call them. I want to see how people are selling in their businesses, and I want to see what offers are working with them, and I want to see where the traffic is coming from, and I want to see, I like that stuff. I want to know where those things are. I want to know who is doing what and who's killing it, right? And so it's the same thing with this podcast. It's just the main purpose of this podcast so far, this first few episodes, has been all about me documenting the journey of me creating the product that is launching on January 4th. And we're hard at work. We're putting all sorts of stuff, cool stuff together. We've got the workbook together. I've been creating these cool, there's a lot of awesome stuff here, and I want to tell you more about it in future episodes. The main point of this episode, though, is I want you to know that what I've done is I've taken a step back, just like you should too, and ask yourself, oh my gosh, what keeps me from the act and role that I have of salesman, right? Of revenue driver, right? I'm not getting sidetracked with logo. I'm not getting sidetracked with if I have an office space. Who cares? Do it on your couch for a while. It doesn't matter, and eventually go talk to people. And so start thinking through those things. What are the tasks? What are the things that I am distracting myself with? The things that I am saying to myself, oh, this is more important because selling for me is uncomfortable. And you go and you start, and this might be a little bit unpleasant. Okay, to get real with yourself. Get honest with yourself. What is it that keeps you from selling? What is it that keeps you from pushing your MLM out there? What keeps you from recruiting another person? What keeps you from basically working towards your own retirement early? Okay, How much, what is that worth to you? And you make a list of what those things are, a real list. Okay, not what you think I want to see or hear, or someone else wants to see or hear. What you know that you're supposed to be doing next. What is keeping you from doing those things? Okay, and write that on one side of the paper. The other side of the paper, write down like the one or two things that you're supposed to be doing. So what's distracting you, and what on the other side of the piece of paper, what are the things that are actually that you're supposed to be doing? Okay, distractions. And then real tasks. And I will tell you that number one on the right side should be revenue. It should be sales. Okay, and so that's what I've been doing is I went back and I started thinking through like, hey, what are all the things that are keeping me from selling? And honestly, it's this internal process that I go through, and I love it. But it's different literally every single time. There's no systemized ways that I've set up yet to be able to handle this scenario. And that is with the way I handle my interviews. I love interviewing people on the podcast. I love when people ask to get interviewed on my podcast. And I'm about to do a whole bunch more on this podcast. It's not a pitch fest. It is a opportunity for people to share how the strategies they're using to recruit or to sell the products or that kind of thing. It's not there will be zero name dropping of someone's actual MLM that they're a part of. It's that's not the purpose. That's not the goal of this podcast. It is literally just to share strategies with you so you know other cool ways that other people are recruiting besides the whole friend and family trap. Which again, I know if you love that, that's awesome. That it's great for you. But I hate that, and I am not actually that amazing face to face with people, and I would rather not talk face to face with people about this stuff. So I found other ways to do it, which is the purpose of this podcast, to show you what I've been actually doing. Okay, so interviews. I love interviewing people, and what I've done is the problem is that every time someone asks to get interviewed on the show, which is a whole bunch that'll be coming up in the future, or when someone asks to interview me, it's always different. The process is always different. Literally every single time. They might ask through Facebook. They might text me and find my phone number some weird way. They might email me. They might find my phone number and there's been some weird ways people have found some stuff, and I'm not sure whether or not to be flattered by the persistence or kind of creeped out. And so what I've done is I've systemized it, and I've put a process in place that replaces me, right? That replaces the stuff that I continue to do over and over and over and over, because I shouldn't be distracting myself. I should be mostly focused on sales like you. And so here's what I've done. And I'm going to draw it out here while I'm describing it so that I make sure I put all the pieces together. If you go to secretmlmhacksradio.com, secretmlmhacksradio.com, it's the same place that the outro talks about, my little call to action saying that I'll help you and help your team, train your team on more ways to actually recruit people, which is awesome. I get a lot of great feedback from that course, but it's free. It's called the MLM Masters Pack. You can also ask a question to me that I like to place on the show. I haven't done one of those in a while either. I know there's a few questions that I got to go catch up on. But if you go to secretmlmhacksradio.com and on the top click get interviewed, what it'll do is it'll take you to a page that's basically a 3-step process on a single page. And the section 1 asks you just for basic contact information. It says, hey, what's your name, email address, what's your Facebook ID. Of course, I look people up before I interview them. I'm very protective of my audience. I'm very protective of you guys. I vet people really hard, both myself and a VA. Okay? There's a vetting process. I only want the best of the best of the best, or someone who's very passionate to come on the show, right? And so, or someone who has a story, or someone who's like, hey, I've got this cool story where it's, kind of the rags to riches, or I'm rising above, that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Where it's inspiring to the rest of the group, the rest of the community. Those are the kinds of things I'm looking for, right? Or some cool strategy you found, or some cool thing, whatever it is, whatever you want to share, but it's a chance for you to be set on a pedestal. And honestly, the episodes are getting downloaded. I'm getting anywhere from 1 to 200 downloads a day right now on this podcast, which is awesome for completely organic, only a couple months old. That's awesome, you guys. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. But so what it'll ask you, again, go to secretmlmhacksradio.com if you want to get interviewed. And I guess that's my call to action to you. That's my subtle, totally non-subtle plug right there. But if you go to secretmlmhacksradio.com, click on the top, get interviewed. The first thing it asks you, and so I built this whole thing yesterday, actually. The first thing it asks you is, hey, name, email, Facebook ID, all that kind of stuff. Skype ID, because that's usually where I'm doing interviews. Then when you click next step, there's like this cool show hide element, and it shows the next section. It's the same page. You don't actually leave the page ever. All it does is hide the first section and show the second section. And then it asks things like, hey, what do you want to share? What are the things that you'd be passionate about, talking about? Are you okay if I put your face in different places? Are you okay if I spend ad dollars in the future with our interview and kind of push you all over the place? Can I repurpose and syndicate the content? Stuff like that. And then the third thing that asks you is hey, what's one like massive value bomb you'd love to share with the community in order to provide value? Please understand this is not a pitch fest. It's not X, Y, and Z. It's not. Are you okay with that? And it goes through anyway. That's kind of it. And when they click submit, it automatically, through something called Zapier, it automatically sends all that data to a spreadsheet in Google Sheets. And it automatically emails the person who just submitted it, and it automatically notifies my assistant that a new submission has been placed, so she can go through and do the initial kind of vetting walkthrough process. And then if we both give the thumbs up, then she sends over a link and where you can go and choose a time from my calendar to jump on and do an interview call and come share your cool thing. So that's kind of it. I'm super stoked about it. The next page that it takes you over to, though, so that's all the animation in the back, and the next page that takes you over to on the thank you page is like, hey, look, if you, thanks for wanting to get on my show. If you want me to get on yours, click right here, and it kind of brings them through a similar process. So it's kind of like this cool loop that I created, and the whole reason I did it was to automate a process that I have been finding challenging for me to handle. So some of you guys might be thinking, like, Steven, I don't love funnels the way you do. I'm not a total geek nerd like you are. I don't have a pocket protector like you probably do. I don't, by the way. But if anyone wants to send me one, I'm all down. Just kidding. Hey, I totally get that, and that's totally fine. And luckily for you, there are other nerds like me who are looking for people like you who want to set that up for other people. And maybe this is something that I should make available with the current product that's coming out on January 4th. Anyway, no matter what it is, though, so you don't always need tech. You don't always need X, Y, and Z. You don't need, I'm not a coder or a programmer, and it always shocks kind of people, I think, when I say that. But I'm not. I don't know how to do any of that stuff. And so I've pulled this stuff off without knowing how to do that stuff. So that should be somewhat alleviating to you. Yes, I spend a lot of time around technology, but it doesn't need to be something crazy. But no matter what it is, just systematize more areas of your life. If there are things that you are finding that you're doing over and over and over and over again that don't actually contribute to your bottom line, why are you doing them? Okay, think through why are you doing them? Do you really have to, or is it a distraction? Is it something that you're trying to get yourself to? You're trying to convince yourself, oh my gosh, like if I just do this one thing, if I just read this extra book, if I just answer this other email that has nothing to do with the sale, I'm going to be successful with it. And that's not true at all. You must be spending as much time as possible, especially in the beginning, in the act of selling, which for a lot of people sometimes means discomfort. So think through yourself. Think through, what are those things? What are those things that are distracting me? And can I systematize any of them? Is there something that this has more to do with setting up kind of internal processes and more of the business internally for you? And I get that. And this is an MLM podcast, and I get that. But it so very much applies to you, whether you are new or you are very seasoned and have a massive downline. Okay. What are the things that are distracting you from the sale? Can you automate them? That's all this episode is about, and I'm super stoked. So I guess that's kind of my unshameful plug too. If you're wanting to jump on, go ahead and go to Secret MLM Hacks Radio and click on Get Interviewed up at the top. Anyways, guys, and the same is true otherwise, the other way around. If you're wanting me to get interviewed, if you want to interview me, you go to stevejlarson.com. It's a very similar process. Click up on the top. It says interview me. Anyways, guys, that's it. I guess that that's my soft pitch for absolutely no money. All right, guys. Hope you're doing great. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Hey, thanks for listening. Please remember to subscribe and leave feedback for me. Do you have a question you want answered live on the show? Go to secretmlmhacksradio.com to submit your question and download your free MLM Masters Pack.